that it makes sense in the fact that, like, I don't know, that's an acknowledgement of how resource intensive raising a baby is, and how a woman can't raise that's kind of like acknowledgement that a woman can't raise women can raise babies by themselves, but it's very challenging. And the more resources you have, the easier it is to raise a child by yourself. So I guess, like, if the woman who was pregnant made more money than the man, I don't know how child support works. Like, would he still be paying her child support, or, like, it would probably reduce the amount that he's paying her, right?
I couldn't say.
Me neither. But I assume that, like, whoever, like, in those cases, the woman who won is probably going to be out of work. She might get fired for being pregnant. Who knows? But, like, she might be out of work for a little while.
I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
I hope so. It might be. Sorry, I'm not sure. Yeah. I hope so. But she might not be able to go to work. She might have medical problems arise due to her pregnancy that prevent her from working. She might, like, have to stop working after the child is born. If she can't work, how can she get resources if the father of the child isn't helping her, if he is still able to work?
So this, in the current model, the state subsidizes a lot of abortion in terms of taxpayer money. Could the state then, give resources and letting the man off the hook for that?
So instead of the man paying child support,
right? Since he has no input in the decision,
money. Sure. I don't think they're. I don't think there should be. That sounds like vaguely spiteful. Like, you got this woman pregnant, and now you need to pay for this baby. I think everything is just. This stands out as just more complicated and more nuanced to me than that. Right. Where, like, I don't, like, why doesn't this man want this woman to have this baby? Like, why? Maybe he can't afford it either. Maybe this woman really does want this baby. Maybe, I don't know. But I think it's, like, super important to recognize, and this is what the child support question is tapping into, how you can't raise a child if you don't have money. You need resources, and like, somebody needs to provide resources to this baby, and if the mother can't do it, like someone has to. It's not,
So the one more thing I'd like to get your opinion on is, in the current Supreme Court, it's if there were to be a challenge to Roe versus Wade, it's likely that the majority would be decided by a woman who is pro-choice, or pro-life rather. And so would you honor that decision because it was made by a woman? And in contrast to Roe versus Wade, in which all of the justices were male who granted the right to abortion, keeping in mind the statement that you say men shouldn't have input into this decision-making process?
That's a really good question. I would be really interested in hearing I am not familiar with the case of Roe versus Wade.
So all the justices were men.
Okay.
In that case.
Well, that's what's so interesting about law and about. I've been listening to the confirmation hearings of Amy Coney Barrett. I thought they were fascinating, and I would be really interesting. I'd be really interested to hear their reasoning for why federally legal abortion is unconstitutional. I do not know why it is currently considered constitutional. Like, I don't know the ruling for Roe versus Wade. Do you know?
I'm not super familiar with the specifics of the case. I know that, people on different sides say different things about it, and it's hard to tell whether that's objective or, politically motivated towards their end goal. I know it was close, and I know, I don't know, and I have no idea at this point what sort of case would be presented to challenge it. I think there are some in the pipeline, but I really don't know.
I don't know either.
But I guess the point, though, is more in terms of your assertions or statements, beliefs before that, as to who has a valid
my hope is that the justices who would decide that would be using like their sound legal judgment, but and that it wouldn't like the whole point of the Supreme Court justices is that they don't like their sex and their gender is not supposed to matter. They're supposed to be like as objective as possible.
But it seems to matter to you, though, in terms of who gets the right to say whether it's okay or not. And so my question is, like, if a woman winds up being the one who says it's not okay, and in juxtaposition to the original Roe versus Wade, where it was all men who said it was okay. They didn't all say it was okay, but the majority were all men who, and one you say shouldn't have input into the decision. The other you say should.
It wasn't shouldn't have, but
I'm sorry.
I
mischaracterized.
Right, it's
but
okay.
The ultimate decision. It comes down to one sex, and if that is the sex that indeed decides against Roe versus Wade, would you honor that because it is in keeping with your belief that that's the sex that has the right to say?
I don't. That I wouldn't be considering the sex. I would. So, are you talking about Amy Coney Barrett specifically?
Yes. Yeah.
So, what's complicated about my hope is genuinely that her. I would be trying to like look at her arguments. So I know what she wants and what she says she's going to do is look at cases that are brought to her with fresh eyes, only with the context that's given to her. That's her job, and her intention is to not let her own sex or her own beliefs contribute to the way she rules on a case. And so that's my hope as well. Like, I really hope she does that. Right. And so I would be primarily interested in hearing her, like, legal reasoning as to why abortion is federally unconstitutional and why Roe versus Wade should be overturned. That's what I would be most interested in. But what's challenging is, like, again, like, this is more nuanced than just that. She's a person. We know she's pro-life. We know that she is has had experiences like foundational to her life and to her career, experiences with pro-life organizations, and that she's so like it makes it just even the fact that you're asking this question, we acknowledge the fact that she is pro-life and that there's a chance that her appointment onto the Supreme Court could possibly overturn Roe versus Wade. Like, we know that that's a possibility because we're talking about it, and that idea was given to us by politicians because they're talking about it as well. I don't. If anything, her religious beliefs would be more influential in her decision to overturn Roe versus Wade than her sex. Because we know she is a Christian. I think, is she a Catholic? We know she's a Catholic. And we also know she's a woman. And I think someone's religious beliefs. This is so interesting. Sorry if there's like this.
No, it's great. This is what it's all about.
My a-religious beliefs partly contribute to my pro-choice beliefs. Her extreme fundamentalist religious beliefs contribute to her being pro-life. Her being a woman, obviously for her, does not contribute to her being pro-choice, and it may in some way contribute to her being pro-life, I'm not sure. But I think her religious beliefs have more to do with her being pro-life than her sex. Me being a woman definitely contributes to me being pro-choice because I can imagine what it would be like to be pregnant. I obviously have a stake in the decision, like a stake in the Supreme Court decision, right? So like if I got pregnant and could not get an abortion, my life would change. Do I think, would I be like, if she was the deciding vote in overturning Roe versus Wade, would it make me feel better that she was a woman? No.
Okay. I'm afraid we have to end it there.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was great. I'm so glad you stopped. Yeah.
Me too.
All right. And just say one more time, I think I got it, but just say you're okay with the audio recording.
I am okay with this audio recording.
Great.